Hello everyone, my name is Tana Agrawal. I'm from third year. Skills that I used in my projects are React.js, Node.js, Express and MongoDB. So firstly, we'll talk about what is React.js. React.js is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces maintained by Facebook. It enables the development of single-page application and helps in creating complex UIs using small reusable components. So creating React app. So open a terminal and we first open a terminal in directory. You would like to create your application. Run this command to create a React application named by React app, which is npx create React app my React app. This one. Or you can directly make your application without specification a name like npx create React app like this. And then after creating a React app, you need to go into that directory by using cd and the directory name that we have created. Then just start with then after going to the directory, you can start your project using npm start, or you can use if you're creating a project using Vite, you can directly start your project name using the command npm run dev. So firstly we will start with how to print hello world. So you can type on your computer or on your repository, that is const root is equals to react dom dot create root, that is document dot get element by root, and you can render it using the hello world. Nextly, we will learn about how to set up a React app. So for this we have learned already that we can create a React app using npx create React app my React app, or you can directly use npx create React app. Then after creating a React app, then we go to the directory using the command cd and the directory name. Then we can run the application with this command npm start. Now we learn about how can we render the HTML command. So basically in React, it is kind of React, so it renders HTML to the web page by using a function called React DOM.render. React DOM.render, this function takes two arguments: HTML command which you want to show on your page, and HTML elements where you want to put the element HTML content. So the command is React DOM.render, which is read out hello, and document.get element by id root. And this is the give id root which we connect with the main React app. So now we learn about if you use React application, you mainly come across a term called JSX. JSX basically stands for JavaScript XML. It is similar in appearance to HTML, hence provides a way to easily write HTML in React. So basically, in coding in JSX, earlier we have to make an HTML element or append into the existing ones with methods like create element. So like const element is equals to react dot create element hm. So now we can directly write it like this: const element, and in h1 tag we'll write hello world. So you can see this may make our work easier, and we have to code less. So here are the expressions in JSX. This is the mathematical expression, and this is the variable states, and this is the ternary operators. So in React apps, we will now study about the React components. So there are two types of components that we come across in React, that is class-based components, and second one is function-based components. So in class-based components, here, before making a class-based components, we need to inherit functions from React.component, and this can be done with extents like this class cat extends, which will extend the React.component, and then we'll render it, and then we can return using the h1 tag mu. Then the second kind of components we'll study about is function-based components. In function, it's similar. We just need to return the HTML like this: function cat and return h1 tag. Now components and files, to have less mess inside main file, to use the components on different pages, we have to make these separately so that we can just import them in any file and use HTML. Now we'll study about what are props. Props is very important component which helps us in a lot of ways. As mentioned earlier, we can import the same component in different files and use it, but maybe in different files some changes in the component is needed, or for that we can use props. like this, component, function, this new, and props.color. So here in many other files we have to again and again use it, we have to again and again write the color. So instead of writing again and again, we can directly write in one place and then render it here, props.color. And here we can another file, the main file, we can mention the color what we are going to put in the entire application. Now we'll study about React props. So React props are arguments based to React components via HTML attributes. Example component like function cat props return new, and new color is props.color. Okay, and here main color is, we have provided the main, that is purple, that we studied earlier. In React, then we'll study about React events. If you have coded in every little bit in JavaScript, you have known the importance of events. Events are very important. So every HTML attribute in React JS is written in camel-less syntax. Event is also an attribute, hence written in camel cases. As we have learned, variables, state, JavaScript's operations are written in curly braces. Same is true, which with React every handles true, like this. On click, and then what we have written at show. So like button, on click, show, and then button. Arguments and events are like, we can't pass argument just like that. We will give the syntax error first. Firstly, we need to put the whole function in arrow function like this: button, on click, and this arrow, show true, then show button. React event object. So event handler can be provided with a function like this: button, on click, event, show, true, event, show. Now then we will study about React conditions. So React conditions. One of the best things in React is in React we can conditionally render elements, components, like AND operator. This is one of the way to conditionally render. Next is the ternary operator, and these are the syntax of how to use ternary operator. Like we can provide conditions, and if its condition is true, we can print true, and if the condition is false, then this statement gets printed. Then we'll learn about React router. React router is used for page routing as React app, doesn't include it as a default. Add React router. So to install React, we have to first install the React router. To install React router, we have to, in terminal, we have to run this command, namely npm i-d react router dot, which will basically install our React router app. Creating multiple routes, we can actually to move from one page, since React app is basically a single page application, we can actually move from one page to another page through routing. So routing is basically very helpful. To do this, first we need to create multiple files, and to keep code clean, we'll make a folder, separate folder basically, and make all the pages there. Hence we will create a folder named pages in src. So folder structure, we can write like pages, homepage.js, blogs.js, content. These are separate pages we can provide. And then here we can using the React router, that is browse router, we have to import it in our project. Then only we can use it and then move to the next page. So here, after using browse router, we have given the routing pages. Like here route, element, home, and here path, we have to provide the path like /blogs and /contact. These are the same things we are provide, or we can instead of giving routing, we can directly give the links, like make all the navigation links using link tag, and like this. Here we have provided it like this. Same with all these things. So now we will study about React hooks. What are React hooks? Hooks are added to React in version 16.8. Hooks let us use state and other React features without writing a class. Although states have largely replaced classes in React, there is no plan to removing classes from React. Things you need to keep in mind while using hooks: you must import hooks first. You must import it from React. Hooks can only be called in React function components meanings. Hooks cannot be conditional. Hooks cannot work in React class components, and hooks can only be called at the top level of the component, meaning it can't be called from inside the block. So it can't be called inside if loops or any block. Example like this. you can't call here. We can't call, since it's written as here, we can't call the hooks inside the block. We have to always call it outside. So we have studied about states. React states are very important. So we will study about React use state firstly. So use state is a hook that lets you add React state to function components. Importing use states. To use states, first you need to import use state and initialize it. You can import it from React like this. So import use state from React. Initializing use state, you can initialize states like this. Import use state from React, const app, and we have to provide the sec name, and this is the sec name is a function. This is the function we provide, and this is the default value use state. Here default value is null, so you have not given anything here. Use state takes the initial, so basically use state takes the initial state as an argument and gives a state and a function. This name is a state, and your set name is a function. To update that state, as we can't directly change update a state, also these states names are just like variables, hence you can name them anything you like. So we reading a state, as mentioned earlier, it returns a state and a function to change and update that state. Hence everything is named in stored in name. We can read states just like variables. This is how we can update a state. To update state, we can use functions to basically name all the data we are changing is stored in the variable, and to change that name, we use the function which is the set name. So to update state, we can use a function to return this update state. In the case set name, state can be updated like this. And this is the same thing, updating objects and arrays and states. Then we can use the React use hook. So React use effect hook. So use effect hook allows you to perform. This is the another state of the React. So use effect hook allows you to perform side effects in your components. Use effect accepts two arguments. The second one is optional. So the dance on every. So this is the use state we have studied earlier. Use state comma use effect from React. So dance on first. Now about use context. Use state is a hook that lets you add React state to function components. Use context helps you manage states globally, that is between components. So this is the context API here we have to use, and the context provider. Now we need to wrap the component tree that means the state context in a provider. It's like provider all from provider states to every component in that tree, which is wrapped in a provider. And this is how you can use state hook. Import use state, create context, use context from React. To access use state, you can do anything like this. So const state use context, state context is how it is handling the state globally. React use ref. So these are all the things you are studying: the use state, use effect, use context. These are all React hooks. Another React hooks is React use ref. Use ref keeps the value stored between renders. In this, value change doesn't cause a re-render. It can also be used to access a DOM React directly. So doesn't cause re-render. Import use state use ref from React. Import React DOM from this, and this is use state value, set state value we can set, and the ref value we can provide the use ref value to change the state between, basically used to render. It is basically used to store value stored between renders. The next hook we will study about React use callback. So React use callback hook returns a memorized callback function. It is done so that it does not need to be recalculated, resulting in provider improved performance. If we don't use callback function, would run on every render. This helps us to memorize resources intensive functions so that they can not only automatically run on every render. With use call hook, memorize function only runs when any of its dependencies update. So when you use callback, you may think we can use memo and stop a component from re-render. But if there is a case where you are passing a function as prop to a component, then it will re-render irrespective of memo. It is because of the something called referential equality. It is every time a component re-renders, its function gets recreated. Hence memo is working between is working, but because function is getting recreated, components will be rendered. To avoid this, we can use callback. So like this, const handle state use callback, and here set state we can use. This is the state we are setting up, and the type it is like it is confirmed. Like this, we are memorizing the function and only letting it run when the dependency state changes. Let's now talk about Node.js. So Node.js is basically a JavaScript runtime built on Chrome V8 JavaScript engine. Node.js is designed to build a scalable network applicants. Node.js can be downloaded from official Node.js website, and it is a free and open source in server environment. It allows us to run JavaScript on the server. Next, it can run on multiple operating systems. So why do we use Node.js? What is the use of Node.js? So you can use JavaScript entire stack. Many famous companies use Node.js as a backend. So it comes with a lot of useful built-in modules, and it is very fast. You can download and install Node.js on the official website. You will see a page like this, and you can select the compatible version for your operating system. After downloading gets completed, you can simply install Node.js. When the installation gets completed, you can open the VS Code, then click on new terminal, and then write Node. As soon as you write it, you will get the output welcome to Node as follows. This is the Node.js terminal, and we can write the same JavaScript here, and then we can write thing before. Before writing an idle JavaScript code for Node.js, let us make a new file. As a tutorial, you can name any file and write it as follows: console.log, like hello world. To execute it, you have to write Node. So in the Node.js section, but to run the server with the help of Node.js, we can simply write the code as follows, like const http require. So http is basically an inbuilt module which is already present in Node.js. And here we are using host name, as we're giving the localhost or IP address here 127.0.0.1 and a port number, that is 3000. Locally, localhost using a default port as 3000. This is the server client. This is the code we will write it, and then if you have to listen in port, which port you have to listen, 3000 port you have to listen, and there we have to console.log. We can see whether our backend is connected or not. We can write a message name server running at HTTP port name. If we execute the above code, we get the output as follows. This is the output, and here we are getting the server is running at which port, HTTP 0.0.1 and 3000 port. By clicking it, we see that the output is hello world. It means that we have our own server with the help of Node.js. In the same way, we can pass any HTML code in place of hello world. By doing so, we can make page level and at our own server. This is the code server written in the video. So this is where we have written like this is a default IP address, and which port is running, 3000 port is running, and this is the server code we have written, and this is the HTML and CSS code we have been given, and in which port we are listening to, the 3000 port we are listening, and this is to know whether the backend is connected or not. So we can give a console.log the message that is server running at which port, 3000 port. In this we'll study about the modules. The modules in Node.js are the same as JavaScript libraries. Here are the set of functions that we want to include in our application. To see the whole list of the modules, we can visit the official website here, and let us see an example here. So we can download, the first step is to include the modules with the help of the following code. We can import the modules like const fs is equals to require. The next step is we have to write the name of the file which we want to read. In this example, assume that first file is delete all txt. The code of the reading text file is as follows. Here we are reading the file in synchronous way, that is read file synchronous. The file reads synchronously reads the entire content of the file. Finally, the last step is to print the file as follows. The console.log, this is a text. To execute the above code, we have to write this note. So this is the code we are writing. We can also write it as follows, that const fs is equals to require fs, const text is equals to fs dot read file synchronous, and this is the file we are reading it in synchronous way. And we can we can print the message in terminal that the content of the file is, and we can print the content of the file, that is your text. We can also make a new file and replace the content of the original file. Suppose we have to, so we can, to replace the content of the file, we can use dot replace option, and here we can replace the content of the file. So now we have to make a new file which we will write the above text. So to make a new file, we have to write in that file. So we can use write file synchronous. So write file synchronous function is used to write the file after executing the above code. The file name rohan.txt will be created and you will see the output as follows. This is very simple example of the use case. So this is example we can give, and here we have learned about how to be write in the file, how to replace the file content, and how can we read that file in synchronous way. So firstly, here the code which we have learned that synchronous is basically a blocking code. So it means a line of code written first will be executed first. On the other hand, a block of code will be line by line execution is not guaranteed is known as asynchronous or non-blocking code. These type of codes accept a callback function. So in the last tutorial, we have basically learned about how do we read the file synchronously. So we can read the file synchronously, but here we'll study about how can we read the file in non-synchronous way. So simply we can write the file. For example, we can read the file dot file read file. So in above code, as an A, as B, and null, these are the examples we can study from it. And so the reason for this question here, so if we give the wrong file name for the apart from the read, then the pops out as follows. This is the pop file if we have given the wrong name. So the main thing of the notice after executing the above code is if we are getting the output, this message is first is the callback function is returning the output as follows. The main reason is why is it returning this error is because it is an asynchronous function. It allows read file function to read the file completely by the time the code is reading the file. The next core of the code is executed, and when the reading is completed, it then prints the data. It does not mean that the code is not executed by the line. It gets executed completely. The code is executed synchronously, but the output we get depends upon the time taken by reading the file. And asynchronous function is used here because it does not allow the code to block the user. If we use the asynchronous function here, then the file will first read, and then the next line will get executed. So I hope you must have to get an idea of blocking and non-blocking concept using Node.js, which is very important to know to study with the Node.js application. Before we have learned about how to serve HTML files using a Node.js, so backend is all about serving the files. So the primary task of backend is to serve the files according to the request of the user. So we'll start by making a new file in like name as whatever you can give the name .html, and then serve as a basic HTML, and then take it as a basic HTML file. So now we will make a new server and see how you serve it according to the user request, and the code goes like this, like const http, which is an inbuilt function in the Node.js, is equals to require http, then code const fs is equals to required fs. We are reading the file structure. So now we will write the main line of the code to read a file. So to read a file, we will use .read file synchronous, and to which file you have to read .tut61.html. The final step is to make the server and serve the file the code. To serve the file, we create a server first, then we'll write head there, and this is for whether it gets read completely, right? It gets written completely. So it will give a successful code which is 200, which represents successful, and then we can end the file. So then till now we have to make the server, and now we will make the server listen to this port. Suppose we want to make it listen. To make it listen, we will use turbo.listen. And which port we have to listen? 80 port number, and IP address is this 187.0.0.1. And which port? 80 port. After saving and then executing the above code, we can execute this, and it will give an output like this. This math object tutorial. And here we go the location. And it is serving on the port number 227.0.0.1, and which port? 18 port. So reason for listing this port at port 80 was we do not have explicitly write anything else in URL. For example, if we have taken 8000, then we have explicitly write and in a URL to the request path. So I hope you must have understood like how to use server the basic Here we'll learn about how to create a backend using Node.js. So backend simply means serving the basic files based upon user request. So this time we'll create a new folder as tutorial 67, create a file as index inside it, and we have to make the server code begins up. So the const http is equals to required http, const fs is equals to required fs. Now we'll make the random localhost port to listen at. So this is the port number 3000. We will now create a server. This is how we learned before, like we can create a server using the create server app, and finally we can make the port to listen. We can port to listen, and this we have already studied about. And now we can request different pages to make the files and read them. So we can make different files to read using the read file synchronously. So we make the code, and it will show us shows all the content of the file present in that file. Now if you want to use a URL should serve different files, as we click on about us, contact us, and this how we can service like this. And this happens all above all the section. This is example of custom backend. So we're going to learn about npm. This is how to install and use it in the backend. Npm is basically a package manager for Node.js packages for the modules. Npm program is installed in your computer when you install Node.js. So we'll make a new file under this and write the following code to get started. The console.log, this is a tutorial number 69, we can do it. npm helps us to basically, what npm does is basically it helps us to manage the packages in Node.js. Let's understand this. We'll make a new directory, and till now we have only one file inside the directory, that is 269.js. but as soon as we write npm in it will, on the terminal, it asks several questions like package name, version, description, entry point, keyword, and author, etc. So when we execute this, there is a new file called package.json inside the directory. The file looks as follows, like this. It will look like this package.json file, where it has name, 269, version, we have given a version, description is already taken by the Node.js itself. Node.js init has initialized, basically used to initialize the folder in terms of a node package. Now we will install any other dependencies, it automatically gets added to the package. For example, if we write npm install slugly, this package.json file will automatically get updated. In the same way, we can install and uninstall any other packages from the directory. Besides all of these things, we can also get another folder called node modules. It is a folder containing the modules related to our project. If by mistake this folder gets deleted, we can recover it back by installing npm by writing npm install. So if you want to install any specific version dependencies, we can easily do that. For example, we want to install version 1.3.5 for Slugify. You have to write it as npm install Slugify @1.3.5, which is the version of Slugify. As soon as we write this, the version gets updated as follows. So let us now see the dev dependencies. Like here, the Slugify, if we have written this, give this folder, it will automatically get updated by itself. We don't have to write it again and again. So let us now see that what dev dependencies are. There are times where we want to install the packages only for development purposes, not for production purposes. In that case, dev dependencies are useful. The best example of this is NodeMon. It gives a server what automatically gets restart every time. To install this, we have to basically use npm install NodeMon, and then it automatically gets installed as like this. For these, the basic concept about npm, I hope you have understood this. So now we'll study about how we'll use in the backend to make a server. So basically we learn about how to use Postman app and how it helps us to create and get post requires for the server. What is Postman? So basically Postman is an app that is used to collect all the get and post requests through a custom URL and sent by the user. It basically minimizes our work by not allowing us to write JavaScript with the Node.js application. We also skip fetching all the API with the help of Postman. To download the Postman app, we can visit its website, and here we can download it in a desktop. Here we can also make a request to search google.com and our output will get us the page source for the website. In the same way, we can use the Postman request also. We need to fetch our URL and select the post option and then send it the request as well. So here, the same way we like what is Express. Before understanding Express, makes a new folder as Express and write cd express in the terminal and go inside the folder. Now we'll call the npm package, and by writing npm init, we will initialize the folder package.json file, and now we will install npm install express in this terminal window. Express.js is basically a web application framework for Node.js. It basically releases a free open source software. It is designed for building web applications and APIs simply. It creates a custom backend automatically for us as per our requirements. For example, if, in the last few lectures, we learned to create a custom backends for different packages like about us, contact us, and services. So there are many more we can learn about it. So therefore, it's possible one of the best open source web application format. And Express is very useful, and this creates mainly the web base, because if we don't use Express, we have to our code become very complex. To make our complex looks very effective and quality, to increase the quality, we use Express. Now we learn about MongoDB tutorial. So what is MongoDB? It is belong to a software industry field that we must have heard about MongoDB. It's a bit faster than other traditional databases like RDBMS and MySQL. So all the main highlights are: it is a NoSQL database. It is a document-oriented, open source, cross-functional document-oriented database written in C++. Develop faster, deploy easier, and scale bigger. MongoDB developed started in 2007. MongoDB 2.4.9 was the latest and stable version, released on January 10, 2014. What is meant by document-oriented database is basically MongoDB stores the data as a document, so it is known as document-oriented database. It is stored in the form of BSON. BSON is basically is almost similar to JSON, but only difference is that this type of variables are declared in it. Database is referred as a database, and table referred as a collection, and row is referred as a document. Mongo and MongoDB is basically default while writing install MongoDB started on 2002-7017 port, and MongoDB is basically a host process of database. Mongo is command line shell that connects a specific instances of MongoDB. When you run Mongo with no parentheses, it defaults to connecting the port host on the port 27017. If you run Mongo against an invalid host, it will show a fail to connect. It make it simpler. MongoDB is like a plate and Mongo is like a spoon. If you need to put a spoon in a plate to eat the food, it is in the same way Mongo is needed to run the database in MongoDB. So this is how you can run. Now we go to C drive. If you download it from the MongoDB, go to C drive, program files, MongoDB server at 4.2 bin, and then copy the paths of the bin folder and update it in the environment variables like this, which is shown in this screen, and open the Windows PowerShell admin and write MongoDB. So now open another window of PowerShell, write Mongo in it, and the other screen will get the message as follows. So it means a connection is established. And so I hope you get the idea like what is our MongoDB. MongoDB is very important as it is a NoSQL database. It is very document oriented and helps us to store data effectively.